Greetings. Greetings, greetings, greetings. Hey, y'all. Hey. So I'm live here with Instagram and with YouTube. And I'm just going to wait and see if anybody wants to join us. Give them a couple seconds. And then I want to chat with you guys. This is not intended to be a channeling, but to kind of dissect something that just came to my mind. So where do secrets go? So this morning, not too long ago, I got a phone call from my little sister, and it started off as a pretty good conversation. And then she asked for a favor, and I was unable to help her with the favor. But then we moved into kind of trying to clear the air with some situations that we've had together or between us. And so, I asked her a question because she had come to me a little while ago and made some apologies. And I accepted the apologies, based on what I knew had been done. But for whatever reason, this morning, I felt led to ask her to tell me what she was apologizing for. Because the nature of things in my life right now, some things have gone unnoticed, not unnoticed, but like unconfirmed or whatever. And so, I was just asking, hey, so what is it that you're actually apologizing for? And so she explained, and it gave me a lot of peace to hear her explanation. So then we had our little exchange about religion and our beliefs, and we actually were in agreement there as well, and so we hit a little bump. And the little bump was we started talking about what it means to have a reprobate mind, and how sometimes it is equated to just being lost, right? But in addition to being lost, there's also a sense or an energy of choosing the things in your life that are going to keep you lost. So it's not just being lost, right? So I didn't get on here to talk about that or debate it, but in our conversation, it did turn into a disagreement about what that really meant. Now she has her background and her history that she lives, and then I also have mine. So when we couldn't come to agreement about what that was, then something was thrown out to me, and I promise I'm getting to it, y'all. She said, well, no blame is on anybody for doing anything. I know I've done my things, and I know you've done your things. And then she followed that with, plus, you're the one who introduced me to incest. So when she said that, I was immediately confused because I was like, what? And I remember the first time that she was abused because I was there with her. And so I began to say that because, let me just clarify, she does have a history with like drugs and stuff. And part of the things that she was apologizing for was like lies and like the attitude and stuff that she gets when she's not able to get the assistance that she's asking for. Okay. So then we moved to this topic, and I start to explain to her, what I remember, like this is how I remember that taking place. But she went on to tell me that a very specific thing that I did. I didn't do that. And this brought up the question of, it's sexually related, it's incest, it's all tied to all these things. And so that's why I felt it necessary to come talk about it, because it's not necessarily about whether I did something or not, or whether she did something or not. But we all know, even me and her, we talked on it briefly. We both know that there is a root to all of this energy, period, right? And we could find the root if there wasn't so much secrecy, okay? So this brought up the question. I'm not here to tell her I'm not here to defend myself, and I'm not here to do anything. But my question is, what happens when a family or an individual, whatever, decides that a secret is going to stay a secret, what happens to that? What happens to the other people affected by the secret? What happens to the people later, 10, 2 or 3 generations later? Secrets do not just disappear and go away, right? If a secret is kept, for instance, um, people's actions, sometimes we want to keep our own personal actions and things that we've done in a situation private. But what happens what takes place when that happens? Someone is affected, someone is shamed, someone is accused of lying, someone also may repeat a certain pattern or something that is the result of that very thing that somebody is lying about or keeping a secret. So there are things that come after these things that we deal with. Okay. Incest. I've talked to my followers about this before. People who share in what, who want to know what I have to say about certain things. I've shared with you guys before about my own, healing process, the sexually related things that I've dealt with. On top of that, incest. Right. So I know that this goes back to, it goes way back to slavery, to all these different things of when it comes to incest within African American families, for sure. But also the secrecy and the shame that's tied to it as well. Because I've been present when people were coming up against her when she said that something happened to her growing up, by another family member. I was right there with her, and I didn't disagree. I didn't think she was lying, because the reality is you just never know. And that's my experience. And so for me to have already experienced those things and then to be treated very lightly, I never tried to make it seem like she didn't go through that. Right. I didn't know. And I couldn't see my stepdad doing that, but I also wasn't going to say she was lying. Right. So I feel like there's a lot of people who are dealing with certain things like these very things, and so many different ways that the pain can manifest, even though the secret is being kept. Okay. And this, for me, and the experiences that I've had, this can mean that so many different things get created in our being, whether that's like pain, shame, guilt, regret. But also when we have other factors that are tied to it, like mental illness and things like that, it may create other things in your brain, like other realities, other scenarios, other things, right? So the secret is still it's doing more harm than good, because now someone is sitting somewhere wondering if they were right or wrong for the way they feel, if they should feel shameful, if they should be angry. I don't know. There's just something to this to where I feel like outside of the accusations, because the accusation is the very minimal part of this. The reality is that I was talking to my daughter about it, my 13-year-old, because immediately after I got off the phone, I was just like, I don't get what just happened. I don't understand what just happened. She was telling me how much she loved me and cared about me, and how she was so sorry for the things. And then she turned right back around and told a lie to my face when I wasn't in agreement, or to me when I wasn't in agreement. It kind of frustrated me a little bit, because not because her apology was about to make me change my whole perception or anything like that. I've already come to healing in regards to our relationship, and nothing else has to come of it. I've already come to healing. And from what she was saying in the beginning of the relationship, she's also on that journey to find that peace and healing, regardless of who wants to accept that they did something or who didn't, or who doesn't. Right. So I will say this too, just because it's kind of feeling weird to me the way I'm talking about this. In my young adult years, teens, even like young adult, like 20s, there were certain behaviors that I now identify as a result of those things. Okay. There were people also who were affected. Now, from my own memory, these were all adults, so this harm was adults. And then in the teenage years, it was one person who was the same age as me, and I didn't do it to them. It was kind of like a mutual thing that happened. And for me, I fell into it, or I was in it and seen it as acceptable because of the things that I had been through, or because of the things that had already been allowed to happen. Allowed, I say that not to say that anybody gave somebody permission, but you guys know where I'm going with that if you've been sitting with me for a while. So I say that to just share, a lot of times we do have behaviors that we portray that are a result of past traumas and abuse, okay? But I'm not going to tolerate somebody lying on me because I'm a very self-reflective person, okay? And I've been able to try to make sense of certain things when they get to me. And that's kind of like my goal today. That really got to me, the way that came at me. And initially I felt some kind of way, and then I just stopped with it. Have there been times that I was inappropriate? Because, okay, this is what I'm gonna share. Like, for instance, as a young woman in my 20s, and like even till like after I got divorced, which was still in my 20s, but whatever. I remember doing things like pinching somebody's butt or pinching somebody's boob, or just little like, oh, hey girl, little playful, flirtful things that I thought was 100% normal, and that I thought were just playful, and just playful interactions between people. And I thought that because growing up older, okay, I watched like my mom and my grandmother, they used to play with like my great grandmother, and they like pinch her butt, or with the great aunt, like amongst the women, that used to be a little thing, like they might pinch a butt or make a little brush up or make a comment about something. And I never saw it as negative. And I'm sure like now I still don't see it as negative. I just see that some of that stuff created a certain energy. And so when I stepped outside of that, it was then inappropriate, even though nobody ever said it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I never had any issues going forward in life where somebody said that I like touched them inappropriately or anything like that. But I was doing it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was, and I was doing it under the guise that it was acceptable and it was playful and it was nothing. You know what I mean? So that's kind of what I'm talking about here. It's like, it don't have to be, you sexually abusing somebody for sure. It doesn't have to be that. It can be behaviors that were accepted or seemed normal growing up that are not normal, that are not normal in everybody's world is how I'll say that. Okay. So there's probably multiple people who could say that they were probably uncomfortable or something, but the way that I was doing it, probably, the fact that they didn't think I meant anything by it, they didn't say anything. I can think of people like that. I could think of people who might have that feeling about me, because I've always been a very, a programming. Okay, so that was a programming, I think some of the stuff that we experience, even the stuff that's hidden, it still manifests. It still manifests as shame, as guilt, as all these different things. And I just think that we have to be more responsible in how we're addressing them and moving forward. Because like my sister was saying in the beginning of in the conversation, none of us, me and her, if she's saying that, she said that I introduced her to incest. Well, even if I had done something to her, this is what my daughter told me. Even if I had done something to her, she asked if I would be to blame. She says, Mom, would you really be the one to blame? Or would you be, basically she was just asking, would you be to blame? And I knew where she was coming from, which is kind of sparked me looking at it from a different perspective. Because not to say that you can just push off blame or hurt and say, oh, I was hurt too, but more so that if nobody is addressing something and it's allowed to run rampant in a family or in a situation, then who is to blame about it? Who is to blame? How do you deal with that? Secrets don't just disappear. Secrets don't just go away. If that was the case, we wouldn't have people's bodies being dug up on an everyday basis to find secrets. Secrets don't go away. Secrets always come to the forefront. And sometimes there's a lot of pain that's had and experienced before that takes place. It's a thin line because you don't want to victimize yourself for being accused of something like that, but you also don't want to be insensitive to somebody else's experience that may have painted a situation, may have painted that picture for them. You know what I mean? Because I've been in a position before where I was telling my truth and everybody was acting like it wasn't true. So I don't ever want to put anybody else in that position, but I know what I did and what I didn't do. I don't know. So this was the best way I could really address it without trying to evade guilt or cast shame on another person, is to just really look at why is it that we're allowing shame, because that's what makes us keep these secrets, shame, fear, whatever, judgment, criticisms. Why are we letting that on a personal level take precedence over the effect that it's having on our environment, the people we love, and things like that? Okay, Instagram. If you want to keep listening, come on over to YouTube, IyandaSiraj. See you there. So yeah, I don't know. I didn't expect to pull any cards regarding this because it was just one of those things that I wanted to just kind of see what came forward for me. And honestly, it's not a whole lot. I mean, I'm really seeing just a whole lot of the color black. And so I feel like the black is more so tying to just things that are being kept in the dark and the fact that they can't stay in the dark. So there are things, even if you feel like something hasn't been exposed, something is out and manifested and alive and well, even if you haven't been pinpointed in the situation, even if the source hasn't been found, that's still alive and well and causing harm and causing hurt and causing pain every day that you don't come forward with the truth, right? So I don't know. It's frustrating because, as my sister was saying, we're all on our healing journeys, and it's difficult when you bump up against something that is someone else's pain, you know what I'm saying? But you're not to blame for it, So it's a very sensitive way to handle it, okay? Now, I'm being called to talk about emotional abuse, but let me make sure I separate these messages very intentionally separate the messages of where do secrets go and emotional abuse, so that it is not seen that I am attempting to say that they're the same thing or that they are interrelated, okay? So, but it's coming to my mind, and I just want to make sure that transition is clear. Emotional abuse. When people have done harm to you, or when people know that they can initiate or trigger a certain response or reaction from you, and they do, that's emotional abuse. When a person knows your traumas and your pains and they use it to give them a leg up, That's emotional abuse. When a person, and I say that leg up thing, especially partners, when they come in and they begin to learn about the things that you've been through, and they begin to try to model themselves in a way that they seem like your savior, or they seem like the answer to every prayer, that is also emotional abuse. um, Emotional abuse is also apologizing for something but then repeating the same behavior. That's emotional abuse. um, Also, not acknowledging guilt, but then also wanting the benefit of continuing a connection or relationship the exact same way that it was before. That's emotional abuse. Shaming you for making a decision based on someone else's ill actions, that's emotional abuse. So, yeah, emotional abuse. Um, I feel like this is also speaking to when like the roller coaster, when someone brings you to they okay, so a lot of times when people are emotionally abusive, they will flatter you first. So sometimes a lot of times they'll come with flattery, or what people consider love bombing, when they're specifically talking about like narcissism and stuff. But in general, though, emotionally abusive people will come forward and begin to flatter you, right? And this can go back to the situation, because you know what? I'll just be real 100%. Emotional abuse looks like kind of like what my little sister did do in the beginning of our conversation today. I was trying to avoid saying it, but whatever. Whatever. I'm not worried about it. So the thing is, flattery comes first, and then a person will attempt to extract from you whatever they're trying to extract from you. If they're able to extract it, then the conversation may remain pleasant. If they're not able to extract it, then you'll see a turn. That's when you'll know that there was emotional abuse present. Okay, so that's when you'll know something was attempting to be done. Some type of trigger or something was attempted. That is kind of what happened today. I was trying to not say that, or trying to not acknowledge it, but whatever. Gifts coming to you, and this is also a thing too. I know not every person is going to verbally apologize for things. Sometimes you're going to have to allow yourself to see the apology in their changed behavior. But sometimes, if you have a person that's been resistant to acknowledging something, resistant to accepting, resistant to apologizing, if you have someone like that, and yet they want to shower you with gifts or attention or whatever, you have to be careful with that kind of situation, because a person who has not acknowledged their wrong, and wants to just skip over acknowledging the wrong and get to having the benefit of forgiveness and everything like that, that's emotional abuse too. It's emotional abuse, because if you ever bring up that part is unhealed, if you ever bring up that topic, if you ever come back to that place and it's affecting you again, then you will be scapegoated, and it'll be made to seem like you're not moving on, or you won't forgive them, or they're trying their hardest and you won't move past it. So that's also a way that emotional abuse takes place. I think yesterday, or whenever the last time we went live with a direct contact, the message of people intentionally doing things, taking shots, creating kind of like a network of stimulus to try to send your way, to get you to react a certain way. Be careful, guard your energy right now, because this is big manifestation season for a lot of us. If you fall into that, if you've studied your chart, if you know yourself, your path, then you know that we are in a season of great manifestation. And so some of the things that are coming down for you, people will want to benefit from now. So this is not to say that you get to like stick your tongue out at them and say nan nanny boo boo, but it is right and just for you to keep that same energy. You know what I mean? It's not, you don't have to feel any shame or guilt for keeping that same energy. The way I ended that conversation was very clear. I said, you can stop repeating, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you. You can quit repeating that to me, because Showing me you love me would be consistency, would be to, she's like, yeah, I respect you and I love you. When mama was working 2 and 3 jobs and we was home by ourselves, you was the one cooking for us, and you was the one, and you was the one. And as I listened to that, I was like, you're right. But have I ever gotten that respect or honor from you? Like, so you're telling me you love me right now and you acknowledging all this, and then right after that you turned around and lied on me and to me, like to me. So there's that, all of that is emotional abuse. All of that is emotional abuse. Whether it was intended or not, it's emotional abuse. And so that's how I ended the phone call. I was just like, look, I'll keep loving you from where I'm at, and you keep loving me from where you are. Because I don't want love that has to, I don't want love at all that has to prove right or wrong. I don't. I don't want love, because for me, I haven't put nobody in that place. I spoke my truth, and the people who feel like they want to keep denying it, they keep denying it. And I moved on with my life, whatever. Okay. Now, if the conversation come back up, I'll still maintain the truth of it. And if they still maintain their innocence, then okay, whatever. But what has been working is that I love you from where I am and you love me from where you are. That way, whatever manipulations that you like to employ, I don't have to be subject to them. And I can love you anyway. I can love you. That's where we talk about having boundaries, because you don't have to cut every single person out of your life, but proper boundaries. Because this whole breakdown even started because 2017, I was going through my own mental breakdown after breakup. I was taking care of my daughter, my oldest, and been taking care of us, you know what I'm saying? But I was going through all that stuff. The family had pretty much alienated me because of my path that I had chosen, to the extent that, my mama was even texting me, don't come home. You ain't welcome. It's crazy because I ran across those text messages the other day, and I was just looking at them like, wow, that really happened. Like, that really, really happened. But either way, I had deleted them. And when I got a new phone, apparently they popped back in my phone. So, for my cloud. But the point that I'm making is that that whole thing has started because I was unavailable to assist her in a time of crisis for her. And some of the things that I said, she felt she was hurt by. And today we discussed it, and see, and that's what I'm talking about. Stuff that is not being talked about, it just brews and it just festers and it just turns into it morphs into all these other things. And so anyway, she talked to me, and I didn't even that after that conversation that day, because I'm skipping over what I said to her that angered her. She was asking me to send her money for a pizza. I was in Kansas, she was in Texas, I think, and she wanted me to send her money for a pizza. This was a normal thing. She would call me every now and then, and she would need help for a hotel room or whatever the crisis was for her at that point. And I would help. I wouldn't even be concerned about what she was really doing with the money. That's always been a big thing for me. If I decide I'm going to help somebody, I'm not really concerned about what you do with it. I helped, and how you manage the help is on you. But this specific day, I didn't have anything to give. I didn't have anything. I was sick myself. I was just getting out of the psych ward. And then of course, like, I was dealing with, being abandoned. Okay. It felt like abandonment then, but now I look back at it, I was just overly attached to my family unit. So, it felt like abandonment back then, but that's what I was going through, and she was asking me for help. I was unable to offer it. And she got upset. So I said, what would you do otherwise? Like, if you didn't have me to call today, what would you do for money? And she was like, well, usually I have to do things that is in her past. I'm not here to put her business out there, but she told me what she would do. And I said, well, go do that. You're here angry with me because I don't have it to give. Go do that. And because I told her to go do what she would normally do to get money, because I couldn't help her in the crisis, she felt really, really offended by that, which I understand. I do. I understand. But I also know on the other end of that, there's a certain level of acknowledgement about um, there's certain things on her side too that I acknowledge as well. So even though I know what when I said that it could have been hurtful, like seeming like I didn't care or seeming like that I didn't care that she would have to do those things to eat or to have somewhere safe, and that's not what I was trying to express, and that's what I expressed to her today as well. Um, but it is just something about secrets and how you feel about things and the way that they sit around and then they erupt, because I think it was just a few months later where she ended up calling my phone and telling me that I was dead to her, that I've always thought I was better than her. Um, all these things that ain't never been true. You know, as growing up, people used to always say that to me too. People used to always say I thought I was better. They would say I talk like a white person. They would say, actually, my cousins growing up would call me white. I had a little brother too who was mixed somewhat, I mean, whatever. And so there was always this thing where like either they were, they would joke with him and tell him, your daddy really white. They didn't know what they was talking about, but he had long hair, so they were just making fun because they could, I guess. And that was a playful way, but I know that it wasn't playful. It was meant to be hurtful. But anyway, I don't know, like there's a lot of emotional tit for tat and things like that I can now think of that was not healthy. And as adults, it's no wonder why, a lot of us cousins and siblings are just now bonding because we were playing all these emotional games back and forth. And where do they come from? Secret rivalries in between family members, um, sisters who don't want to see their sister succeed or don't want to see their sister um, healed, growing, doing better than them, I guess. That's all in the family, though. In the family, I'm not even talking about myself specifically. I'm talking about in the family, where secret rivalries are there. And then the kids grow up having these certain opinions or views that aren't real, but there's another generation affected by that secret feeling, secret drama, or whatever. My grandmother specifically explained to me once about a rivalry. And I can't remember whether she said it was a sister, a cousin, but it was a family member for sure, who always spoke down on her because she dealt with drug addiction, for a good part of her life. And I just remember her speaking things about, I guess, people telling her that she wasn't never going to be nothing, her kids were never going to be nothing, her grandkids were never going to be nothing. And energetically, I know what that can do. You know what I'm saying? I know what that can do. A spell like that. I know what a spell like that can do to a family, a bloodline. And it's unfortunate because I feel like there is this mystery that if it came to light, a whole bloodline could be healed. But there's shame tied around it. There's guilt, remorse tied around it. And I know that this is not just my family story. It goes back. It goes so far back. Mothers who don't share their own pain and things that they've gone through with their daughters. So their daughters grow up resenting their parents for whatever energy they grew up in, because they didn't have understanding. Right? Gives a whole new meaning to lean not to your own understanding. Your understanding of this brings up that that TV show Them. At one point the two daughters were having a conversation. It's like an 8-year-old and a 14-year-old, and they're having this conversation and they're both agreeing that they're never going to be like their mom, who in their eyes is kind of crazy. She off. Now neither one of them children was there to see her get raped by two men on the floor and watch She was getting raped on the floor, watching the third person and the fourth person throw her baby around in a pillow sack until it died, and they threw it on the floor. So, yeah, two daughters growing up only experiencing their mother as a grieving woman, as a woman who has been hurt in just in the ways that I just spoke of, right? Um, who's just trying to heal herself, you know what I'm saying? And you got these daughters making this pact that they never gonna be like their mom. And in the end of the movie, in the end of the show, you have the mom telling that oldest daughter, you know, what I've been through, you never, ever, ever, ever need to know. All you need to know is that I love you. I love you. You know what I'm saying? And so that's making me tear up, because the reality is, by people speaking their truth, you free yourself, man, and you free your kids, and you allow yourself to be seen. You know what I'm saying? You know, for the longest time, I had never seen my mom cry. Like, I couldn't remember ever seeing my mom cry, or just be vulnerable, like, even, you know, just like emotionally vulnerable, you know. Not that I ever saw it as a problem, because I didn't. Like, I didn't think that that was a bad thing. I thought that my mom was strong. You know, I thought she was tough. I was respected and honored it, honestly. And I knew she had been through certain things, because she did share some stuff with us. But some part of me feels like there's so much more, and that ain't none of my business. But, you know, I just feel that I don't know my mom. You know what I'm saying? And that my sister don't know my mom, and I don't know my sister, and she don't know me. And we don't know my grandma. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just feels like all the secrecy about shame and guilt and fear is just causing division and separation. It's causing hate, judgment on one another, you know, and it feels bad. Like, I don't like it, you know, I don't like the feeling. But, you know, it's not just about me, you know. So I'm doing my part, you know. I did, like I said, put that boundary up for my sister. And of course, also, I have a certain way that I'm dealing with most people in my life right now. Because of that, you know, I can't, if I'm around, then I'm going to be feeling all of that energy and seeking to understand it. And if people are committed to keeping it a secret, then I'm just going to be causing myself discomfort and dis-ease, you know what I mean? By trying to stay connected, if that makes sense. Secrets do not die. You know how many people thought that they was going to be able to keep their secret, whether they was murderers, sex offenders, thieves. It didn't matter. Like, if they literally thought they was going to be able to keep it, and then what, 20, 30, 40 years later, body dug up, whatever, the secret comes out. You know, the secret is out. And I would hope that as we bring these new babies into the world, you know, every day, that we would be thinking about that. That we would be thinking about that. Some things, you know, don't have to be shared in detail, but the lesson from them can be shared, or the truth that you found for yourself can be shared. You know, I don't know. I just don't think that we're handling this stuff responsibly. Because there are things, even like we talked about this before, there are things that I don't talk about, but it's because of the sensitivity for other people involved. You know, there are things that don't hinder me, they don't weigh on me or anything like that. So it's not like I'm repressing them to save somebody else, but it's that these specific things have caused pain when I brought them up, and I'm healed. So it's like, oh, I'm healed from that specific that thing, right? And so to continue to drudge it up is not healthy for the other people involved, you know, because all that would be is like me trying to like force them into submission or admission, right? And who do I think I am to do that, right? All I can do is speak my truth and let everybody live in the truth. Let everybody live in their own personal truths, right? I tried the route of forcing conversations and things like that, and I just got hurt more, because even in those moments, I feel like people reacted, like there was excessive certain reactions that were there that they didn't have to be had, and I didn't have to have those experiences if I wasn't so hell bent on getting that person to see my view, or getting or needing to feel some type of I really wanted to know that the person understood, um, and I really wanted to have understanding. So, but I'm telling you, every time it was it was intense. It was intense. I saw sides of people that I never thought I was going to see, just by trying to talk about the things that were still hurting me. And they were still hurting me, not because I hadn't been trying to do the work, but because I was being gaslit into thinking that they weren't real, that they didn't happen. So that was my situation. Not everybody's is the same, but I don't think that I would ever let any of my own personal shame or guilt or fear. And I'm just saying this from this place because I cannot speak for everybody. And I say this knowing that I'm saying it based on where I am now. And who knows what that might look like later. But I just can't see myself holding on to something like that and watching my children and my grandchildren suffer because I won't come clean about it. Not just my children, grandchildren, but the people I love in general. Like, I just can't imagine a secret being so serious. And because, I mean, even still, if at any point my children were going to suffer because of the things that I am holding, even though my intention is good, I would put it out there, if it meant that my children would be able to be free, you know, because everybody else involved is adults, and everybody else involved is just as much in the situation as I am, but these children are not. So, at that point, I would have to put the innocence above whatever else was in the situation. I say that, of course, we always met with these different things, and so I say that from this place, not knowing what causes other people to do that. So, culturally and as a race of people, shame and guilt, especially tied around sexuality, over sexualization, incest, all those things. It's a deep wound. It's a deep, deep wound, because there was unthinkable things that were being done during those times, and mothers and fathers were being put in positions to harm their own children. Children were being put in positions to hurt their siblings, and that, I just heard that's being perpetuated by family members now, by mothers and fathers now. That massa thing. There's people who are emotionally abusing their children by showing favoritism, by pitting them against each other, by creating false narratives, and using the wounds that are already present in all of us to keep us at war with each other. That's what the system, the organizations do, and then we're also doing it. We're also perpetuating it on an individual level within our families. Hurting each other and telling each other that if we talk about it, then we will be crucified. What is it that they say about telling a lie? You have to keep telling lies, or you have to work harder to remember that lie. I think that's the same thing about not telling the truth or keeping a secret. It gets more and more painful. And that speaks to like when you're holding certain, like for instance, they speak about holding shame in your sacral area and how it can cause like reproductive health problems when you have like sexual shame or like even like trauma that you've experienced. And if you're holding it in or it's being repressed, you can have infertility issues, you can have tumors and hemorrhaging and heavy bleeding and painful bleeds. For men, you could have just erectile dysfunction, urinary tract infections, like all of this stuff when it's not a regular physical biological cause is 100% tied to sexual shame and regret and remorse. So yeah, secrets, where do they go? Into your DNA. Like they get coded when you don't deal with them. When you decide that you're going to internalize them, they get coded into your DNA. And then when they're coded, they can be transferred. This goes back to that conversation we were talking about parasites being passed on to children in the birth canal. This is a parasite. Emotional wounds. It's a parasite. Yeah, there's a book called Louise Hay. Louise Hay is the author, and she's the founder of Hay House Publishing Company. And she has a book called "You Can Heal Your Life." And in that book, she writes a good amount of it's good information in there. But she also has a guide in there that you can go look up a physical ailment and see what that physical ailment is tied to emotionally. And then for me, in my experience, it's always spot on to the point to like even when I broke my toe like 2 months ago, I looked it up. I didn't look it up with Louise Hay. I should though. But I looked it up on a galactic calendar that I have, and it specifies a certain thing. And then when I looked it up to see what injuries specifically mean, because another friend reported an injury. So I looked it up to see what foot injuries specifically were. And it talks about having a faulty foundation, but also that your steps you need to be paying attention to the steps that you're taking, and asking yourself if you are making a step in progress or a step backwards. So since my foot wasn't broken, it was my toe. I came to the conclusion that there were details, there was something in the details, in the smaller details that I was missing when it comes to, the foundation. I was helped with that, especially with business. I was helped with that. So I think I got it together. But yeah, so secrets, where do they go? I'm going to take it to my grave. No, it's going to take you to the grave. It's going to take you to the grave trying to keep that secret. Yeah. Okay. So Anubis. Nope. Return of Spirit. I'm just going to close this out with one or two cards. Take flight. Free yourself. Immunity. Ooh, I like those two together. Yeah. Take flight and immunity together would say, one, take actions to protect yourself or take actions to separate yourself from certain energies, like take flight, literally. But also, I feel like it's talking about like a butterfly metamorphosis type of energy. Like it's time to go ahead and fly. Yeah, immunity, assistance. Yeah, I do feel like that's kind of speaking to just like you need to kind of make a decision or take action now that can protect you. And I'm protected. There's proof in that. There's so many things that I've gotten to see happen, and there's other people who are still kind of confused about these things. And there's things that I'm still confused about too, but these certain things I'm not confused about. Um, the truth has been made real clear to me. So, what was that card? Oh, take flight. All right. It's time to come out of seclusion. Okay. You no longer need to hide or try to protect. So the opposite message. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to read this out, but I'm going to tell y'all right now, this is a very direct message for myself. Because I have been in such a protective shell, knowing that there was a lot of weird energy, I'll just put it like that, around me. I have been kind of keeping to myself more, for the last few years because people are weird. I've come to understand that humans are weird. So, it's time to come out of seclusion. You no longer need to hide or try to protect yourself from the world around you. You are moving into a new stage of your life where stepping out is important for your emotional, mental, and spiritual growth. Yeah. It's time to start making new friends and social connections. You may find yourself being drawn to groups, classes, or social activities, just as the butterfly is drawn to a flower's nectar. You will find that getting out into the world and being with others will be a source of soul food for you. Through these interactions with people and groups, you will start to feel more confident in yourself. You will see and feel yourself blossoming in a very natural and comfortable way. Awesome. The energy of butterfly is gentle, joyful, and purposeful. You will directly experience this energy and exude it as you move out into your social surroundings. Not only is this an important part of developing self esteem and a sense of belonging, it is a vital piece in your discovery of your gifts and special talents. Your soul is ready to shine its light. It is only human. It is only your human mind that feels it is not ready. Be brave and let yourself out of the cocoon of protection you have created. You cannot fight your destiny. You can only fight yourself. It's time to take flight. You know how the universe works. Like it or not, if there is something we are meant to be doing, we will eventually find ourselves doing it, no matter how much we resist it. So take a deep breath and just take one step forward to what brings you joy. The rest will care for itself. I'm a Scorpio. Scorpio sun, Gemini moon, Libra rising. That's I like how that message, how my ego was saying that the message means stay protected, stay safe, and then the message came through very clear, the opposite. So yeah, I don't know if that specifically means something for y'all, but it definitely means something for me, because I still tend to have a lot of kind of, we all have ego play, so ego is our greatest tool in mastering ourselves. I would say. Let's read immunity. The immunity card comes when we are feeling as though we are under attack. You may be experiencing disagreements or arguments. Perhaps you are feeling belittled, unworthy, or misunderstood. Mm-hmm. Whatever the case may be, there is a feeling of the need to protect yourself. Sometimes these feelings may not even involve an individual person, but are perceived from the world at large. Yeah. It's important that you stay grounded at this time and not fall into old patterns or behaviors or reactions. This is an opportunity to deal with your feelings and the situation in a healthier way. You are not responsible for what others say, think, believe, or feel. You do not have to own it or try to fix or change anything in an attempt to appease them. Every person on this planet is responsible for their own behavior. The immunity card offers you a layer of protection from the negative energy surrounding the situation so that you can respond and take action in a positive manner. This also helps you to see the bigger picture and how to resolve the matter in a way that ensures the highest good for all involved. Just as your physical body builds its immune system, energetically, you are building a healthy response system to negative experiences and people. You will not be affected in the same way should this type of situation occur again in the future. You will gain a healthy form of protection on the inside and no longer need to energetically wear a shell of protection on the outside. Those around you will feel the shift in your energy as you become more accepting and open to letting others into your personal world. Why are you asking me about my hair? That's a weird question. Um, that's a question to ask me. What do you mean by that? Or why is that significant? Um, this, I think, you guys, this speaks to me about what I was saying and why I even came. Yeah, you are weird. Yeah, that was a weird question. So you know what it made me think about? Made me think about people making voodoo dolls. So is your hair tied? What's your tie? Like people be asking questions like that so that they can do stuff to you. So that's why it was weird. Just sharing why it felt weird to me. Um, uh, the messages from the cards really kind of went over what I said or why I even came and did this live today. Because I wanted to make sure that, one, I didn't sit over here brewing and getting all huffy and puffy about an accusation. And then two, the conversation, the bigger picture of the situation needed to be discussed. It needed to be reviewed or reflected upon by myself. So that was kind of my purpose of being here. When you're around Scorpios, you feel weird. Yeah, you probably feel like we see you. Scorpios tend to have a certain, not all of them, of course, you know, everybody has to develop their stuff, but Scorpios can give a sense of acceptance that is so far beyond what other people can fathom, because we have a certain comfort with people's darkness that other people don't have. So that can come off weird, but also I know people do get weird around me, and I've had it expressed that they feel like I can see them. I don't know, things that they don't want to see, I guess. I don't see you, so I can't answer that question. I don't see you. I see you as a weird person for being over here asking questions. That's how I see you. Okay. I'm not making no judgments. I'm just saying. All right, Anubis, what do you want to add to this message today? Entering the mystery. Remember, we talked about those mysteries and those secrets. So here it says, entering the mystery. And then you have Ma'at at the bottom talking about truth, radiance, and balance. She's number 8. Somebody's divine purpose. To seek the truth. That is my divine purpose. It's my life path number 7. I'm a seeker of the truth. I am a Aries North Node and a Libra South Node, meaning that I am a karmic agent. And showing people their own darkness and their own pitfalls. Also having mine shown on a big ass screen in front of me on a regular basis. So I see more than the truth, but forget it. That's cool. That's cool, sis or bro. Entering the mystery. Dove, Nekbet, Mother Moot, and Nephthys and Isis. Y'all remember how I was talking about people trying to distract y'all when y'all are focused on something? That's also a really big energy right now when you find yourself getting more and more focused. Have you ever noticed that when you are in that space, there seems to be a lot of things coming trying to distract you from doing what you're doing? A lot of emotional tugging, emotional warplay, you know what I'm saying? Or like even just at your attention, people just trying to get your attention for no reason. You know what I'm saying? Keep you distracted. The dove represents the petitioner who is questing through the Anubis oracle. That would be me. The innocent, trusting dove flies to meet Nekbet Mother Mut. After receiving the olive branch to the elder alchemist, the dove gains permission to enter into the shamanic mysteries of Egypt. Nephthys and Isis form the sacred archway through which the dove must pass to go deeper into the heart of Egypt and her mysteries. If you've drawn this card, consider how your current life situation reflects the actions of the Neteru picture of. Something new and perhaps surprising is happening in your life, requiring you to take a chance or plunge deeply into the unknown. You have all the support and guidance that you need. I'll take it. I will take it. I also feel like too when it's paired with take flight and immunity, it's like, you know, I do feel like even though there was a message about safety, so it's two-sided, you know. I feel like on one end, someone is going to even some type of problem, right? But very specifically going with what it says, this is talking about whatever this it said take flight. So whatever this leap is, that you're being asked to take is a shamanic journey in itself. So, for instance, like even me coming down here and getting on this live, I just knew I wanted to handle the situation better than I handled it last time, which was internalizing what was said. And so I wanted to make sure I didn't do that this time. That itself was the beginning of a shamanic journey. Like, I think, you know what I mean? It put me in a place where I wanted to seek higher from the situation than what I would have done in the past. Internalize or call 10 people to tell them what she said or what happened. And I just kind of, even though I did kind of do the same thing by getting on live, I feel like the point is that so this is definitely a big sign. I'm also hearing too ghosting. I don't know why that's a thing. Ghosting. I had to cover up the comments, y'all, so because I was getting distracted. Do I want to read another message from the yogic path? See what it wants to tell us about the situation. I remember one time I was live and it was like 2018 and I was doing a reading and somebody came into the comments and they were like, who are you talking to? Who are you talking to? And I was like, what do you mean? And it was like they were trying to distract me, but it also felt like when they said that they sent something to me, you know, like they sent something over there to me. I know I'm a little paranoid sometimes. I know it. Some of that paranoia be for real though. Like it just be real sensing things on people. But sometimes it be paranoid. I be paranoid, but I'm willing to acknowledge that. Pratyara. Okay. Parvati. That's twins. Okay, Gemini energy. Showing up like a mug. He says he's a Gemini sun. Did you ask if my hair was tied because you like long hair and not bald hair? 8 stages of yoga. Control of the senses. We're just talking about sensing, right? Recently, you've let go of some distractions in your life and everything has upgraded since. Come on now, speak the truth. Come on now. You realize that holding on to these things, foods, stimulants, or people only keep you anchored to the physical world. Truth lies in letting go of all that is not you. The daily coffee, piece of chocolate, social media addiction, or need to buy, those were once such a part of your identity, but have now diminished. This is the time to go deeper into pratyahara and to let go of any attachments, even those that are less obvious. Continue to meditate, which draws you immediately into pratyahara. I hope I'm saying this word right, but it's the way I see it, and illuminates what it is you are holding on to. It is only from here that you can listen to the truth within and act accordingly. In its reverse, this is a time to retreat and draw back into yourself. And since we know that that ain't the message, I'm going to read it anyway, but we know that that ain't the message. For some of y'all who are reading this or listening to this and know that this is not you and that you might need to go into yourself, then this is for you. Letting go of any crutches you've used in the past to make you feel good. Chocolate, coffee, social media, or TV shows. Pratyahara translates as to withdraw oneself from that which nourishes the senses. Through releasing attachment to sensorial distractions, we move closer to self-realization and eventually inner peace. What have you been holding on to distract yourself? Perhaps it's food or material possessions or surrounding yourself with people. Let go of all of that so you can realize all that you are. I love it. That's a big message for me, and I'll say this. Me and my path, how do I block people from here? Because this person is about to get blocked. Hey, there you go. Perfect. So that's exactly how you got to deal with distractions. You can't just say, "Oh, I'm just gonna ignore it." No, listen. Some distractions have to be cut out. Cut them joints out, okay? Because if you attempt to hold on, saw what just happened, right? I said I put the cards in front of the chat, right? And I said I was just going to ignore it. But then the messages, I could still kind of see them moving, right? But then I had to go back and reroute and make that a full cutout because that person wouldn't stop doing what they were doing. So sometimes the first step or the first temptation might be to just be like, you know what, it don't matter. It ain't affecting me. Just go on. They can do what they do. Sometimes that works. Other times you have to just go and be like, all right, scoop, 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 scoop. You know what I'm saying? And put a full block on them and see you when I see you type of thing. Okay. This card is a very, very dope, and this another 8. So I'm just pointing out that a lot of 8s are here. So any distractions that are coming right now are literally trying to stop you from your destiny. They're trying to keep you in some type of karmic cycle. So don't play the game and take everything that way. And if it's not a test, then it'll show that it's not. It'll show that it's real and true. You don't got to worry about it. I treat it like a test, and then when it shows up as real and true, I'll move with it as if it's real and true. Okay, so. If I'm uncertain, look, when in doubt, throw it out. When in doubt, throw it out. You know what I'm saying? If it's still good, then it'll be used for something, right? But I do feel like that there is a big energy since we have the number 8 popping up a lot. I do feel like that purity of mind, 8 represents Obatala, you know what I'm saying? That purity of mind, that peace that you're trying to walk in, it's people are trying to permeate that. Permeate? I hope that's the right word. But anyway, they're trying to affect that. They're trying to push you off your vibe. You know what I'm saying? You got to stay in the right energy. But this message definitely pops out a lot because, even though I didn't intentionally isolate myself, I was basically cast out, ostracized first. And then I was like, okay, well, this ain't so bad. So I stayed with myself for a little bit, right? For a while, some time actually. And One of the first people that I connected with or reconnected with after coming out of my little hermit mode. That was the exact advice I had for that person. You know what I'm saying? Because he was romantically interested in me, but I saw him. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I love you though, but I see you. I see you. And you just sit down somewhere and you need to be with yourself. I said, anytime that you're not with me, you with somebody. You ain't never at home with yourself. You know what I'm saying? You ain't never be by yourself. And he didn't see that as an issue. You know, he thought that I was just judging him. He thought that I was just jealous or insecure. Actually, I don't care like what you do. I'm just saying that in order for us to have peace and balance, and for me not to be injecting myself in some type of codependent relationship, I want to make sure, I want to be able to see that you can be with yourself. Because anytime if a person like that, anytime that they feel like you're not doing for them, they will go out and find it somewhere else, because they're not in a position to where they are the person that they can be with themselves. So like if you're not there, they're gonna be somewhere with somebody else. That may not mean cheating, but it's like they can't be with themselves, you know. So, and I don't like that energy, you know. It's not healthy. It's not healthy at all. And it's literally not a bad thing, but I just don't think that people see that sometimes. Even me, I used to think, oh, I'm just a super social person. I'm such an extrovert. It wasn't really that was who I was. I'm just as much extroverted as I am introverted. But the fact that the extroverted part was the way I grew up. You needed to be bubbly. You needed to be outward. And you needed to be playful. You needed to be light. You know what I'm saying? Honestly, because any negative emotions, any emotions wasn't really gonna get no attention anyway. So might as well just be happy. um, but I do feel like, I don't know where I was going with that, so I'm stopping. Yeah, that person, I just felt like, be by yourself, be by yourself. And then of course he didn't listen, so now he just had a whole baby, and I'm like, look. You was trying to pull me into that. Anyway, meaning like 3 or 4 months after I just completely disconnected, he had a baby. so and this will tell you when I started realizing that I was super psychic, okay, or remote viewing. I don't even know what I was doing, honestly. I don't know what to call it. One day, I was looking through his phone, his Apple Watch, actually, not his phone, but I was looking, and there was this. First of all, I noticed that something I found endearing. He used to call me Mother Goddess. And first of all, that's my number one red flag when I'm dealing with men, is that if they see me as spiritual and they want to call me some spiritual title. I be listening. I be like, and what's going to come after? You're going to start treating me like I'm a dish rag, probably. So anyway, so he would call me Mother Goddess. And I noticed, I used to find it endearing. I ain't going to lie. But then when his Apple Watch this day, every female that was in that phone had a name like that. Mother Goddess, Earth Mom, Earth Mama, just all these sunflower, and all these names, all right? And immediately I was like, yeah, because now he keeps following me from all these random accounts. And the last one he tried to follow me from was called Brother Peace. Stop. Just stop. Quit it now. Just quit it. Just quit. Okay, so what I was doing, so what I was trying to explain was, so I was looking through that phone this day, and I saw that, and I must have followed it up on his phone, because I must have followed it up by looking on his phone, because I saw this picture of him and this other woman, right? And the other woman wasn't an issue, because we had just reconnected, so I wasn't who he was with or what he was really doing. It was just that he was lying to me, and I was like, you lying, so why you playing? So anyway, I looked, the woman wasn't the issue, but the picture had just been taken and shared with his friends 2 weeks before I was at his house, before he wanted me at his face. And I was just like, okay, sometimes things move like that. Okay, hold on, let me not. But then I had to review the whole situation and how I came to be connected with him in the first place. He cheated on his fiance to spend time with me. And I didn't know he was engaged. So when I found out he was engaged, we had already disconnected. And so there's a whole drama there, right? There's a whole drama there. So anyway, but in this moment, I'm asking myself, all right, so do you bring this up or do you let it be like part of the past, right? Do you let it be the past? Yes, red flags for sure. All these things. Yeah. And I'm telling you, I've been on a learning journey for real, for real. It ain't been, hell yeah, that's so nature boy vibes. I didn't want to say it. I swear I didn't want to say it. I swear I didn't want to say it because that nigga crazy. Nature boy got issues. He has real issues. And a lot of these actually, and I'm going to say this, nature boy is like Bowser. Okay. And there's still all these little miniature versions of Bowser out here. That's all I'm going to say. So whereas Nature Boy is a whole complete psychopath, some of these people out here are just like fragments of that. They just got these few traits or these few traits, right? Eligio the Great, right? Eligio the Great. He got those. Yeah, he do. But a lot of black men do too, right? Okay. So now y'all taking me to Nature Boy. So let's talk about it. I think, okay, this is what I think. I think that Nature Boy picked up them demons, from that porn video he did with that white man. You know how they say the porn industry, when they talk about spiritually and energetically, they say the porn industry is, it targets Black sexual energy, our sexual energy. In general, it attacks sexual energy and gives people all these false notions about sexuality and blah, blah, blah. But I want to specifically talk about the Black man here, because there is over-sexualization of Blacks in general, but the Black man, it's pretty intense, okay? Because we got categories specifically for, big Black, and it's like, if I don't match up to those standards, then who am I, and am I enough? So we'll talk about that. But I do feel like that a lot of the demons that he deals with are not just as, am I gay or whatever. I don't think that those are specific things, because if you think about it, all that stuff that we go through when we are self-actualizing, we're figuring out, he too old to be at this stage. I'm just gonna say that. I ain't even gonna make it light. But he old, and he been through enough to be putting himself in a place where he should be reflecting on it and connecting these dots. But he's busy defending himself, and that's why he can't focus on the work that he needs to do. He got that from that white dude, that white man. He was on Pornhub, and even just the website itself, I feel like it traps. It does something. It puts something on you or traps you a certain way. It's a ritual to buy. Oh, see, now, there you go. Yeah, we also have been talking about sex ritual a lot. If you have missed any of the lives, we've been talking about sex ritual. Okay. But yeah, I think he did. I think that he is a figure, like not a puppet per se, but a pawn. Yeah, like a pawn. And the energy that he has on him is meant to kill energetically these women, and then to create more versions of himself, which he ain't really doing a good job of, because he got a lot of beta ass males over there. But I think that it's about dehumanizing Black women, preying on them. Remember, breaking up the family, because remember, the way he sells that, the righteousness is, he says that you have to let go of all attachments in Babylon, leaving your kids to be taken care of by whoever, leaving your responsibilities and everything else like that. And yeah, so he's going to isolate you out there in some foreign land and have you completely reliant upon him, and do whatever you and have you doing whatever he wants you to do. I mean, he been putting people in closets to punish them, beating on them. Like, I can't, cutting their hair. That's a whole cult over there. Same thing that happened to him. Exactly. Exactly. So, that's again secrets. So whatever things he's trying to keep secret, keep hidden, because remember, he was trying to hide that Pornhub stuff, and he was trying to hide his preference for transsexual women, or trans. Hold on, wait. What's the word? Is it called intersex? Y'all don't. I'm not trying to offend, but I just don't know the right term. I think it's who's financing them. He probably got a good financer now that I think about it. But everybody over there has most people over there have some type of like SSI, disability, even child support, all kinds of stuff that they are given to him. Transgender, yes, transgender. Okay, so yeah, so now he's into that. I mean, he wanted to keep those things secret. He probably do, and he likes the narrative of actually, what's the name said that? The girl that left, Velvet. Velvet said that she caught him multiple times, sending like pictures and talking on the phone with somebody that's a man. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like, that could totally be a thing. She said he'd be sending pictures, like junk pictures and stuff. So now I don't know. All those women, all of them are still highly, they still healing is what I'm saying. And so when they're saying stuff, I'm listening to truth. I'm trying to hear what they're saying without dismissing any parts of it, but they are still indoctrinated. They are still like even Velvet, she'll have to come back to balance, come back to center. Yeah. She'll need to come from under the hypnosis for sure. So she's from under the hypnosis, but she's battling the energy. So once she stops battling the energy, she'll finally be back at center. And then you'll be able to hear the real truth of everything, right? Because right now we just have a back and forth about who was right, who was wrong, and who did what and who didn't do, so everybody is dirty, energetically, and so they can't discern truth from false anyway. In the very beginning, though, when I first started watching him, I won't even lie, which like a lot of people, when I started listening, this is when he was actually teaching. Because now I don't know what I'm watching, like a reality show or something. It was very tempting. It was very alluring. Okay. Not to say that I was considering going out there, but it was very alluring. Mm-hmm. I can see how people get drawn to that sense of freedom. Got them under hypnosis. You know what? I think he also, yeah, he be playing with the dark arts too. That's why astrology and stuff is so important to him. Yep, 2018. Yeah, Lauren, like 2018, I had just bought a house. I was chilling. I sold my house. Yeah, that's how I dealt with that energy. I'm just now connecting that. Didn't even connect it before. But summer of 2018, I sold my house that I had just bought. I only owned it for a year. And me and my daughter, I just booked flights to Puerto Rico. I just booked flights to Puerto Rico. Not Puerto Rico. What the hell? Belize. Why did I say Puerto Rico? They in Puerto Rico right now, ain't they? See, that's the thing. I feel like he be putting out stuff, like even when you start connecting with them, like if you follow them too much, you fall into it. I wonder if he specifically targets people or if it's kind of like just a net that he just cast out. Because I could imagine that, like, if he found somebody and like found that they were interesting or that he wanted to kind of have them, that he would hmm that's kind of how it felt though. I ain't gonna lie. It felt like I never talked to him. Well, I think I talked to him one time. No, I talked to the wives one time on a live, but that's probably what it was. Is he a Scorpio? I didn't know he was a Scorpio. See, I would have pegged him as like a Capricorn or a Sagittarius. But that man I was talking about earlier who didn't want to be by himself and showed up with a whole baby, he is Scorpio. He had his whole crew posting my name or saying things. Yeah, I've seen him do stuff like that to people for sure. To certain women. He's a Scorpio rising. Ooh. I wonder if he gonna rise to light anytime soon. He going to prison though. He gonna go to prison. I feel like he gonna go to prison and Aya gonna go to prison too. I don't know why, but I just feel like she's a groomer. He did. Well, he had built what made it interesting was that he had built a philosophy. And a lot of people, that's the danger when it comes to people's philosophies that they create or that they download or whatever, however you want to put it. Damn, that's deep. So from the beginning of time, people have been using spiritual wisdom that they've been gifted with to imprison people. I'm gonna put that out there. That's why he ain't got no knowledge no more. That's why he ain't sharing no more, because he don't got it. It's taken. He ain't got that connection no more. Oh yeah, he completely infiltrated at this point. And I don't think that can be denied because we see him now. He back in now now let me tell you though. See, because I just had my brain just did something. I was just about to say he back in Babylon clothes. He back wearing gold chains. He back eating meat. He back drinking alcohol. And I was about to say, that's how you know he's not righteous. And I caught myself. Do I think he got the parasite? Not necessarily. I feel like his is bigger than that. I feel like he was appointed as like a handler or something like that. So I mean, I don't know if that means that he would have to have the parasite already or whatever, but I feel like he was given like handler. He's a handler. So whatever that means for him. I don't know if that means that he would be somebody who has a parasite in him, the real parasite or not, but I do know that because I just think about how much greatness he has over there with those women and the men that are over there. He's got hella creatives over there. He's got beautiful, bountiful women over there. And so some part of me feel like he just has an assignment as a handler. And I think that, well, you know what? He could have been like that stuff with them in that porno. Y'all know I'm not. I don't try to be divisive, and I try not to be a separatist, especially when I'm speaking about race and things like that, because I love people. But there is this thing, and it's a reality that we can't keep like ignoring. There's a lot of demonic energy that has been put onto people of the diaspora, by the system itself that perpetuates racism, but also everyday people who feed into who move in alignment with certain dialogues or whatever. So like I was saying before, like, you know, any white woman who wants a black dude because they got huge dicks, like that's something that perpetuates the abuse and the sexualization. So when I'm talking about race and stuff, it's really in that way, not in a hateful way, but factual, you know, that we can't ignore it. So and I will too keep telling y'all to go watch that show, Them, because it starts off as a whole black white thing, but then you start to see the spiritual warfare present, and you realize the influence that even the white men, or at that time, were under, the influence or possession that they were under, right, during that time. So Parvati, goddess of devotion, love, and yoga. You pull upon Parvati when you've taken immense action towards becoming your highest self. In Hindu mythology, Parvati was in love with the unattainable Shiva. Parvati, is that Ganesh's mama? I feel like it is. She knew he needed the feminine to bring him down to earth, but he was totally inaccessible. Instead of begging and pleading, Parvati decided to become her highest self and seek enlightenment through yoga. Her family objected, saying women cannot become yogis, but she headed to the mountains anyway, where she stood in a frigid stream, balancing on one leg for uncountable months or years. Eventually, Shiva felt her immense energy and fell in love with her because of her strength and determination. Parvati represents commitment to practice, unbreakable willpower, and the power of self transformation. Continue your journey toward enlightenment. In the reverse, this would say, like a body with no spinal cord, you may have lost your grounding and become loose, floating in every direction. What is it you are committed to? A person with no commitments is like a wave with no direction. It's crucial to always have direction in life, and that direction should always be pointing inward. Spiritual development is a journey that unfolds only when you begin to walk the path. Recommit yourself to your daily asana and meditation practice for 30 days and watch your life slowly rebuild its spinal cord. All right. I definitely needed that message. New asana. 30 days. Does the 30 days of yoga and meditation. All right. I guess I'll get on that. All right, y'all. I'm done for listening. And you know, if you guys ever have feedback for me, or I just feel like, or any topics that y'all might want to hear about, because a lot of this is research for me. And anytime I get off of here, there's things that you guys have spoken about that I didn't have much knowledge on, then I go tap in meditation, or I look it up myself, and we all learning, and I'm grateful. So, peace, y'all. Until next time.